Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at a dragon egg based dartboard minigame that I've been working on, and I'll even show you how you can build it up in your own world or economy server. This is a lock based game that relies on the randomness of dragon egg teleportation to generate different prizes, in this case, diamonds. It's an extremely unique design, and I can only find one other person who has built something even remotely similar to this. More on this in the description. To operate the minigame, first pay the entry fee, in this case 1 diamond. Then make sure that you have your first inventory slot empty and selected. Now go into a crawling state using the trapdoor and align yourself with the chain. Then click the button and hold down right click. A dragon egg will drop down at just the right moment, and then you will place it and activate it instantaneously. The egg will then randomly teleport, and the distance from the center will determine the magnitude of the prize. This is calculated through a simple redstone counter, which activates once you press the button and then starts spitting diamonds into the barrel. Then once it receives a dragon egg, it stops the counter. So if an egg teleports near the center, it will take less time to reach the counter and it will shut off quicker, thus the resulting prize will be smaller. But if it teleports further, the egg will take longer to reach the center, thus the prize will be greater, as the clock is activated for a longer period of time. Overall, this minigame is almost 100% lock based, but there is a strategy that you can utilize to increase your prize by a small margin. Hit the button. And you don't want to hold down right click here, you want to get the egg, place it down and then wait till the very last moment to activate it. What this will do is it will increase the time that the counter is active, which will increase the prize. So in this case we got a whopping 14 diamonds. Also, if you want to mess around with this on your own, there's a world download on my Discord server, so go join that and you can check out how this works in full detail, and yeah, mess around with it. Also, if you're enjoying the video so far, feel free to hit that subscribe button down below, as these contraptions take tens of hours to design and it really does support the channel. Thank you. Now, onto the tutorial. So, these are all the items that you're going to need to build up the minigame. So 967 hoppers, 962 buttons, like around 692 building blocks, 169 glass blocks. You don't really need that many, they can mostly be building blocks, but glass just looks a lot nicer. 106 observers, 103 droppers, and then the rest you can see yourself. So I'm going to grab out all these items here. Some items that you can use to help you build the farm are hose, feather falling boots, pickaxes, and some kelp blocks, as well as a few scaffolding blocks, and of course the dragon egg. Okay, so to begin, tower up a few blocks, place down a dropper with 4 hoppers on top. Then we want to take a comparator output from this dropper, like that, then a repeater, some redstone dust, more white concrete, get out your sticky piston, build up something like this. Then you can get rid of the leaves there, they're not really useful anymore. You want to have a downwards facing sticky piston with an observer facing away, and then another observer facing in the opposite direction. So when this gets pushed down, it'll just create a really fast clock. Then we want to have a white concrete block here with a sticky piston and a redstone block. Followed by some redstone dust, sticky piston, target block, repeater, and then you want to go out 8 blocks from here, and then fill it with redstone dust. Then you can get out your glass, and you want to put a glass block there, with a sticky piston facing like that, a block there, repeater, dust, a block on top, with a white concrete there, and then go out 8 blocks again. Chuck some repeaters on top like so, and these are all on 4 ticks. Next up, you want to put down a piston and a repeater on 2 ticks this time, with a block like so, and a trapdoor like that, doesn't matter which way it's facing. Then you want to put a scaffolding block there and a scaffolding block there. Get on top, place another one, then just a block. Get out your comparators again, redstone comparator there, and then it's a bit hard to place. Comparator there, which takes output from the daylight sensor, which is going to be inverted. And then another one on the edge like that. Not like that. Like that. That's also inverted. And then this is pointing into a block like that. And redstone dust like that. That's that little part done. Then get your other 27 blocks of scaffolding and pretty much just pillar up all the way until you run out of scaffolding. Okay, now that you're at the top, we want to take an observer output from the scaffolding block, like that. Some concrete, a block, redstone dust, sticky piston, repeater, another sticky piston, another white concrete, and another sticky piston. White concrete, concrete, and we want to go 6 blocks out from here. Like that. And that's this tower part done. Now you want to position yourself in between these 2 pistons. Place a block above like that. Get out a comparator. Place 2 blocks either side of it, and hook it up with redstone. Then jump down here, place a sticky piston followed by some white concrete. What this will do is once the sticky piston pushes over the concrete, it will block the daylight sensor down there, which will change its comparator output, and once compared to the other comparator, it will then activate the redstone dust, as shown here. And then this should start sending signals back and forth through these pistons. And then we can toggle that off as well. On this side, I'm going to put a block like that, a repeater on 4 ticks, sticky piston, block, block, more redstone dust like that. Then we want to build 5 blocks out through here, 1, 2, 3, one down there as well, 4, 5, with repeaters on each, all on 4 ticks. Then some white concrete, with a button on the side. Redstone dust, and for this you're going to need glass, so 1, 2, 3 blocks of glass like that. So I just finished constructing this platform, which is going to make it a lot easier to build up off of. Now we want to place down a dropper with a hopper and a barrel like that, and this is when you want to start doing pricing. So this is going to be the payout chest, so where you're going to collect your prize or reward, and this is going to be your payment chest. So, like, you know, if you're paying with diamonds or dead bushes even, that's where you would pay for them. So you put your diamonds in there, they'll go into the dropper, and then you can start the game. It is an honesty system. There's no point making some super complex redstone because someone could still cheat the system, so I thought I'll just have a simple hopper system like that. Next up, you want to place a grindstone like this, 2 blocks across and 1 block down from the barrel. Then you want to get a trapdoor positioned like that, and another one like that. And get rid of the leaves. Then you want to get your chain, and then come a few blocks over, and place it like that, so it's facing horizontally. Now you want to start building up the flying machine. So it's a pretty simple flying machine, like the most basic engine possible. And you want to stack up 5 honey blocks. When you're on a honey block, you can't jump too high, as you can see here. And a good trick to meander around that is to stand on the edge of the block, and then you can jump normally. It's pretty helpful. So we're going to have a downwards facing piston like this. So we're going to pillar a few blocks down. If you have Tweakeroo, you could place this down very easily, but I play vanilla, so I don't use that. Get rid of the leaves. Now you want your slime blocks and your observers like this. place a slime block like that, 2 blocks out, place an observer facing inwards, remove that, sticky piston, slime block, with an observer, a piston facing downwards like that. It's pretty awkward to build these flying machines. Then you want another observer facing inwards like this, and a note block, as well as an immovable object. So actually we're going to place the note block down first like that, so we don't start the flying machine. Then another immovable object up top like that. And then that's most of the flying machine done. You don't want to leave out this block here, which is going to go past an observer and start a clock down below. So that's a flying machine. It's pretty straightforward. It's a pretty simple design. And the good thing about honey is that when the block, the dragon egg, gets dispensed against the honey, it aligns itself and gets nested up against this trapdoor. If I was to use slime blocks instead of honey, the block would just simply hit the edge and pull straight down, and you wouldn't collect the dragon egg. Another good thing about honey is that you don't suffocate in honey. So when you get pushed down by the flying machine, if it was slime, you would get pushed into the block for a split second and you would take suffocation damage. But because honey is a transparent block, you don't take any of that damage. So now we want to build up the clock that's going to bring this flying machine up and bring it down. So you want to place a dropper at the same height as this grindstone, with a hopper facing into it like that, and then build up a few blocks like this. Some redstone. Make last block like that with your observer, which is going to detect this block as it comes down. Then it's going to send a signal through here, through these repeaters, which are all going to be on 4 game ticks of delay, like that. Another repeater here, also on 4 game ticks. Then we're going to have to drop all the way down, like this. Placing a block there, and another one like that. Then place a redstone dust. It's a bit hard to see, but it is there. Then leaves like that. Oh. White concrete. And then you want to extend this out until it's perpendicular with the dropper, and then go 1 block more. So this should be our last repeaters. And we seem to be missing 2. Okay, so I dropped 2 repeaters earlier, but pretty much fill this out with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 repeaters, and all of these are also on 4 game ticks of delay. Then you can get rid of this little bit of scaffolding here, and you can go down with it like that. No biggie. That's why you got feather falling. So yeah, get rid of those blocks. Then you want to get a note block, like so, with white concrete. And this is going to send an update to the note block, which is then going to get detected by the observer over there, which I've actually placed in the wrong orientation. So it's going to be facing this way. Now it's time to build up the water streams. First, place some packed ice right next to the hopper, then bridge out 15 blocks. Then add some guardrails on the side. And then go another 2 blocks out like this. Place some blocks on top, and then 1 in the back. Now you want to get your ice, and actually put the ice up here, then you can break it, and that's going to flow like that. Have a look at where it stops, break the block there, put some packed ice over it, get your blackstone pressure plate, or it can be any pressure plate. And then to save on blocks, you can get rid of these. Then get another bit of ice. Now I built mine in a mountains biome, and I'm above Y100, so this is going to turn into ice if I just leave it alone. So what you want to do is just get a block above it. It can be any block really. I believe you can even waterlog the water, and then it won't turn to ice. So that's another thing that you could do. And then the items are just going to come along here and into the hopper. So I'll give a quick demonstration of that. There we go. And they should be in the dropper. This is a good time to get your dragon egg, so I'm just going to give myself one. And you can pop your dragon egg in the dropper. Like so. Now we're going to have to build up this big water tower. Next up, we're going to bridge 16 blocks out from this dropper. Get your soul sand, like that. And build little guardrails on the side, so the water doesn't flow out. And then 2 concrete on top, because sometimes the dropper can spit out the items upwards, and then they can land on the sides. And we don't want that happening, so just get that all fully enclosed. And get some ice. And then have a look at where it stops. Put down some packed ice. Guardrails again. And then we're going to be putting a roof over this afterwards, but for now I'm just going to keep a block above it so it doesn't convert to ice again. And then get yourself some packed ice again. Pressure plate. And you're all good. Now we want to contain this water stream. So just build up a little pipe around the edge like this. And just keep building until you hit your head on the top. There we go. Once you've reached the top, climb up here. And then we want to make all these flowing water sources, actual water source blocks. So to do that, we're just gonna swim down here, and then place a bunch of kelp. It's best to do this with respiration and depth strata boots, but that'll do. I mean, respiration helmet. Then place a block above. We can get rid of the kelp after, that's not a problem. Okay, so I just popped down here. Now you want to remove the kelp like that, and then these blocks will all become water sources. So I can demonstrate that. And woohoo! So there's one more block to place before the guts of this farm are complete. And this is a very important block. You want to tower 17 blocks upwards from here. So a good way to measure that would just be to pretty much split items in your inventory so you only have 17 blocks and keep stacking up until you run out. Now you want to place an immovable block here that doesn't have a GUI when you open it. So you could use a furnace or a dropper, but if I right click on a dropper, it's going to open up a GUI. This is pretty much because if I have a dragon egg and I want to place it down, I'm going to be able to place it down and I'm not going to have to worry about opening up some inventory like this. So you can use obsidian, crying obsidian, then you can remove all the scaffolding like this. That was a fail. Okay, now that the guts of this farm are done, we can give it a little test run. So make sure your inventory slot's empty. Double check that the dragon egg's in there, not a bunch of kelp. We don't really have to pay. Just align yourself against the chain. Click the button. You should get dispensed out a dragon egg. There we go. Hold down right click, and then it gets teleported. Very nice. As you can see here, we're getting diamonds, which is very cool. And the system's going to keep giving us diamonds because there's no shut off yet. make the shutoff, we actually have to collect the dragon egg, so we have to break it in some way, and then push that item into this dropper. And once there's an item in here, it will then shut off the clock, and the total diamond value will be calculated. So now we have to build a massive platform, which is made out of something that will break a dragon egg. Now it's time to build up the item collection system. This part takes the longest, but it's pretty simple and straightforward. There's just a lot to build. We begin by placing blocks all around these hoppers. And then some signs, like this. They can be in any orientation, just as long as there's one sign in each spot. Then from here, we want to go out 7 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then we want to go up 1, and then 7 more. There we go. And then repeat that on all 4 sides. Okay, then when you're on the edge of a block, you want to go across 1, up, and then 7 again. There we go. And then we just want to do that again on the other sides. Once you have all the corners linked up like this, go to a vertex like this and link it up diagonally. This is a pretty simple process. You just shift back like this, and then you should link up with another segment. Make sure that you're aligning yourself properly, so you're only linking outside pieces together. So this outside piece with that outside piece, rather than this outside piece to this inside piece, because then you're gonna go off alignment. If you've made any wrong changes, you'll be able to easily see them afterwards when we place in the water. So don't stress too much if you stuff up something. Okay, now that the first ring is constructed, we can go out to the other vertex, the ones on the edges, and start building out diagonally from them. Okay, now that this whole platform is all filled in, we can start putting up the walls to contain all the water. This is pretty simple. You just go to the corner, build up either side of it, and just make sure that none of the water can escape. While you're doing this, you can also start installing some of the ice and making sure that the water flows properly. You want to make sure that the water's just reaching the edge before it tips over. Which it is. That looks pretty good. That's looking pretty good. Now put the ice in each corner. And hopefully, if you build it correctly, it should look something like this. As you can see, all my water is freezing and turning into ice, but that won't be a problem because we're going to build the massive platform where the dragon eggs are going to be broken. Okay, so let's begin building the massive platform. First of all, situate yourself at this corner, which is right next to the scaffolding, and build up 2 blocks from the water. 1 block on the side, then face the dropper, and hoppers on top, pointing in on all directions, like this. And chuck some slabs on top. Once the dragon egg teleports around here, it teleports within a 15 block radius of that block in horizontally and then 7 blocks vertically. So that's why this whole area needs to be left open. And that's why the flying machine is only 1 block wide, so if the dragon egg teleports next to it, it's still going to be able to fall. And yeah, so nothing can be inside the massive radius that the dragon egg can teleport to. And then once it teleports, it'll hit the slabs, break off, get collected by the hoppers, and pop into the dropper here. But the dropper is pretty useless all on its own, so what we're going to do is we're going to attach a pretty simple observer clock. Something like this works fine. If you want, you could do something a little bit fancy and make this clock, which is a little bit quicker, but it doesn't matter too much because the dropper cooldown is only like 6 game ticks or 4 game ticks, so it doesn't speed it up too much, but it can help. And yeah, that's one module. I'm going to build up another one. So what we can do now is we can place a dropper downwards, and then an observer can detect that. As you can see here, the clock's now extended, and then trace it into a block, place another dropper, which of course an observer can detect, power a block, another dropper, and then just so on. Just repeat this all the way across. And then just repeat that all the way until you get to this end. And as you can see here, the clock is still running, still reaching all the way over here, even though it's over there. And that's one little module made. You can go ahead and start putting the hoppers on top, like this. There's no real quick way to do this. All in all, you have to place around about 960 hoppers, so yeah, that's quite a lot. There we go, so that's one line made, and make sure that you don't forget your slabs on top. You could also use carpets, buttons, torches, redstone dust, pretty much any block that isn't like a full block. You can even use honey. You use fence gates, end portal frames. You can use a whole bunch. So there we go, that's one strip done. I'll show you how to make another strip. As you can see here, we can now break this ice block, and then we don't have to worry about it turning back into ice because there's blocks above it. Just by the way, I think I'll just mention this. You don't have to make this in a mountain biome. I'm just doing it just because the mountains are getting updated in 1.17. I thought it would be cool to have a record of them on my channel. But yeah, we can take an output from the observer like this, and we can just run the same chain, except horizontally. Probably best that this water isn't there, so we can use this as like a little platform to build off of. And then we just repeat the same pattern before, except horizontally. There we go. Once you've built the strip across, you can then start attaching more lines to it. So you can take observer outputs like this, and so on, all the way across. And you just replicate what you did the first time along all these other lines, and then you're done. So yeah, I'm going to speed this up by using commands, but in your survival world, it'll take about maybe a full hour to get this done, if you have all the materials and you get a good rhythm going, so yeah. Okay, there we go, all done. Now if you want, you can go along and break all the ice blocks. Okay, so now we're pretty much all ready to go. There's just one more little thing that we have to do. So this is a perfect square. It measures 30 by 30 in length. But the radius that the dragon egg could spawn in is 31 by 31. So that means that there's like a 1 block gap on both sides where the dragon egg can teleport to, but there's no blocks below it to break it. So that would break this contraption. To fix that, you want to get the center block, which will be this one, and you just want to measure out what the shortest length side is. So in this case, we'll go this way. So we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So this side is 14 blocks long. Then we can check this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that side is the shorter one. And then we can measure this side, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we know that this side is the shortest one. And then once you've got those measurements, you want to extend either side by 1 block. So you just get your hoppers again, and you crouch down, and just place them right side. Then add in the top slabs. Okay, and remove any of the measuring blocks, like this. So before you start up the farm, just make sure this dropper is all unclogged and empty. Then go up here. Make sure this dropper also is empty, except for a dragon egg. And then, you can give it a little test run. So we don't really have to pay. I'll give them all 1 kelp. Go under like that. Oh, that hasn't happened before. And down you go. Got the dragon egg. Gets popped away like that. You can drop down here. And we should see it. There we go, we just saw it. So that got dispensed, the clock got shut off, and we can now see how many diamonds we got. We got 2, nice. Hey there. So just before I ended the video, I thought that I would show you a few of the first few designs that I was working on. This was the initial design. As you can see here, it's pretty redstone heavy, pretty complex. There's a lot of pistons, a lot of observers, a lot of redstone dust, so it'll be very laggy, but it had a pretty basic redstone logic system. You would have a dragon egg that would be placed in the middle. You would then right click it as the player, and it would teleport to any one of these squares. This is before I realized that dragon eggs can teleport 7 blocks vertically as well. So the dragon egg could teleport here, and then that would just break the farm. That would break the contraption, sorry. So yeah, this design is broken. But yeah, you place a dragon egg here, it will teleport to one of these areas. The observer would detect it, and then it would send a pulse down here through these wires. In this case, it'll go down through here. This piston would then push, which would activate a comparator, which is measuring a certain redstone output from each of these item frames. That output would then get carried along through here, and then depending on the strength of it, it would activate 1 through to 8 different observers, different droppers, which would then give the player 1 to 8 diamonds. Now this system, the advantage of it is that it is very accurate. Like, if you get a diamond that goes here, you're guaranteed to, oh my god, you're guaranteed to get 4 diamonds, right? And if the egg goes here, then you're guaranteed to get 8. With the other one, there's a bit more randomness involved, but it's a lot more lag friendly and actually works. And I'm like, how about I try and combine both, right? So I made this system, which initially would have a platform 31 squared of observers, and the outside layer of observers would detect if a dragon egg went on top of it, would pulse the redstone dust, and then you can get an output from that. Then the next observer inward would pulse a block, which would then, you'll be able to get an output from that, right? And then the third layer in, right, it would pulse the block, then it'll hit the note block, which another observer would detect. Then that would hit another redstone dust, which you could take an output from. And then, yeah, you can see where this is going, right? You just keep taking outputs, and then you'll end up with this kind of triangular shape, which would center in the middle, and then you can take output from anywhere on the ring. So yeah, that would be absolutely massive and would require, like, insane amounts of observers, like maybe 25 to 35,000 observers, and redstone dust, which would be very laggy, but it would actually combine the benefits of both systems, the accuracy of that one, and, you know, the actual fact that that one works. So yeah, this could be a design that I look into in the future, but it's not too good on the CPU, as you can see here. There's a lot of redstone dust. So I settled on this design, which uses carpets and water, and it measures the duration that it takes to travel along this water path, all the way to the bottom. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'm currently working on 4 other farms and contraptions, which I'm trying to finish by the end of this year, so I apologize for not uploading too frequently. I've been pretty busy. For now though, I will try and get in a stream once a week playing Minecraft or Among Us with friends, so stay tuned as I've got a lot in the works. See ya!